Outrage TV. What's up, everybody? Let me close this window real quick. Oh yeah. I'm a little late. A little late today. I'm gonna get it going. Let me get myself framed right. Let me get the lights on. We gotta be festive around here, though. A little bit of festivities going into the holiday season. Let me do the vape protest until we get some people populated in here. Yeah, that's that dragon energy. That's what we got going on a Tuesday. We got dragon energy popping off. Come on, man. Get up in here. Feel me. Outrage TV. Live on the internet. We're gonna serve up red pills to these motherfucking normies. The NPCs on Facebook. We had one person, I scared him away with my singing and shit. Come on back to the dragon. Oh yeah, let's get it, baby. Tuesday. Come on in, everybody. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. We're gonna talk about all kinds of different stuff today. Oh man. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm dragging energy right now. Dragging energy protest until we get people in here. Share it out. I gotta share the stream out on Facebook. Let's do that. On the Drudge Report, looking at Jim Acosta, CNN suing to get their press pass back after their goddamn throwing tantrums on live TV. All right. So here we go. Let's share out the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Share it out. Share it out on the Facebook. Let's do the damn thing, everybody. Let's do it. I enabled the super chats. So if y'all want to contribute, they got that, and then we got the Bitcoin address down below. I don't know what's happening with my browser right now, but you better let me share this stream out on Facebook. All right. All right. Post it out. Post it out. Post it up. All right. We got that shared out. I'm just kicking it until we get some people in here. Man. Tuesday. I got some sun. I'm waiting on people to come over and hand in their applications. I got the do not disturb on the phone. I'm the assistant manager of my apartment complex, so you know, I'm taking in all the applications, all the wannabe Hollywood people coming in. Man, let's get some people in here, dude. I gotta put on a fucking gun show I'm in the workout shirt, man. Be comfortable, let the arms loose, you know. What's happening? We got one person in here. What's good? Tuesday, lovely Tuesday. Dragon energy on a Tuesday. Let's see it. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, I scared one person away. One person still holding strong. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the vape plugged in so this thing doesn't die. You know, we'll be talking about all kind of stuff. Share this thing out. Serving up piping hot red pills to everybody on the goddamn Facebook. I was getting in spirited debates last night on the damn Facebook. Oh, about climate change. and this one comic I know is talking about Donald Trump is the iceberg that the Titanic hit, and half the people in the water are arguing for why the iceberg was good or some shit. I had to set people straight on Facebook, man. You know, because it's fun for me. A lot of people get stressed out, Facebook, arguing, politics online. I live for the shit. You know, I don't do it that often, but when I do, I get it in, you know. And people spend 30 minutes replying and think that they've proved me wrong, and then I reply in 30 seconds with just dismantling everything they just said. And I enjoy demoralizing people, you know? Not in the technical sense of the word. I'm trying to, you know, I'm all about my morals, I'm about the non-aggression principle, you know? But, you know, sometimes people got to realize how wrong they really are, and just how ill prepared they are to wade into these political discussions, ill prepared. And so sometimes you got to set them straight, you know? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about arguing on social media. I was talking about climate change yesterday on the podcast, and yesterday on stage a little bit. People don't get it. Like this dude on Facebook I was arguing with, his main argument was this false appeal to authority to climate scientists. And he's like, I was just giving him the logic of, we have ice on the poles, so we're technically in an ice age, and historically the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere has been hundreds of times higher than it is now without climatological fucking cataclysm. And he just chalked it up to, well, I'm not a climate scientist, so I defer to them, okay? And I can't think for myself because I'm an NPC drone that accepts the official narrative handed down on high from the government overlords, okay? If they don't have government money in their pockets, I don't consider their arguments, okay? Because I'm a useful idiot for totalitarianism. All right? Okay. Dude. People, you got to think for yourself out there. Use your own brain cells, okay? Logic, that's why it was invented. That's why Aristotle did what he did, okay? So we could think for ourselves and not have to depend on Bill Nye to describe reality for us. I mean, I was 7 years old watching Bill Nye the Science Guy too. I was like, everything he says is true. And back then, most of it was, because he was actually teaching science. But now it's like gender fluidity and fucking, you know, women singing about their vagina. That's science to Bill Nye now. And it's, you know, it's sad. Our culture is degrading, and country's divided, you know, and but not as divided. I was working out this idea last night of how people say this is a nation of immigrants, and there's a dude mentioning me on Facebook again. Oh, he's coming for it. He wants to be served up the red pills, baby. I was talking about the Native Americans. I've talked about this on stage before, but how everybody says this is a nation of immigrants, right? And they use that as a justification to bring migrants in. What's good, dirt weed? What's good, baby? So I was talking about the nation of immigrants thing, right? And my argument with that is, the first people who came over here on boats weren't exactly immigrating to a nation. All right? It was more of like a big patch of dirt with 1,000 different Indian tribes trying to cut each other's head off. That's more of what it was. I don't know what kind of a nation that would be justified as. It doesn't seem like much of a unified nation thing. It's more of like, you know, when you step across territory lines, you're getting your head divided from your body. That's a divided idea of what, you know, a nation is. So I don't think it was necessarily a nation. And then the Europeans showed up all confused, looking around like, where are your cathedrals and your statues? What's going on? Are you hiding it from us? And the natives are like, well, we actually live in animal skins that we stretch across sticks. That's what we stay in. And Europeans were like, oh shit, this is awkward. We have guns and everything. I wish we had photographs so we could show you the churches we built. They're pretty spectacular. This is just, you know what? Hold our beer while we go over here and build, the greatest civilization the world's ever seen. No, don't drink the beer. No, that's not going to work too well with your genetics. That's unfortunate, man. And the whole false narrative of the smallpox blankets, right? That Europeans are so evil that they took their people that had that had smallpox. They slept in the blanket, probably died, and then they were like, "Oh, the smallpox is still in that blanket. Let's go give it to the Native Americans," just because, we're assholes. Problem with that is, and Stefan Molyneux has talked about this, there was no germ theory of disease in the 1700s. Nobody knew what the fuck a germ was. They just, came over here on boats and people started coughing and shit. And the natives started dying. That's like, there was no Native American genocide in this country. That's a total rewriting, false, anti-white, and cultural Marxist lens view of history. That's not what happened. 90% of the natives died out because of smallpox. Okay, and it wasn't because of deliberate smallpox blankets, because we didn't know what the fuck a germ was. We didn't understand that shit. So that's what most of them died from. It was like, just looking at them dying, like, man, they're really not handling this beer well. That's unfortunate. God damn. But it wasn't some deliberate genocide. But anyway, arguing on Facebook, it's fun for me sometimes. You can get caught up in it too much, and then you get replying back and forth, and nobody's got any facts, and it just gets to like an insult contest, and that's whatever. But I always bring the facts to my discussions, and people can get nasty if they want, But anyway, what else are we talking about? I just saw that CNN is suing, I guess, the White House for taking away their White House press pass. And man, that is not a right to have a press pass. That's a goddamn privilege, and they're fucking abusing it. Like, people, everything that Trump gets blamed for is all the division and the rhetoric and the divisive rhetoric and the aggressive conflict. And none of that started until the media called him racist for saying that some of the illegal immigrants coming across the border were raping, which is just a fact, ladies and gentlemen. He called Mexicans rapists. No, that's the abridged, propagandized, filtered version of what happened. Some of the illegal immigrants, a portion of them coming across the border, are doing some raping, And that's what he told Don Lemon is, the 80% of these women coming across with coyotes across the border end up getting sexually assaulted. And he's like, well, that's, I don't know if you could say that's immigrants raping. And it's like, well, somebody's doing the raping, Don. Somebody's doing the raping, man. Oh, dude. There's that migrant, there's that big tens of thousands of people coming up and from Central America trying to cross the border. And it's just absurd how the left tries to cloak their desire to import third world immigrants for a voting bloc. They cloak that in this whole multiculturalism and diversity narrative, and just like basic like this fake like compassion thing. Like, think about if you were born in their spot. they just want a better life and they're broke. And it's like, I don't have to imagine that. I'm broke too and I want a better life, you know? So I see opportunities all the time. And I'm out here delivering Postmates, and I get let into people's apartment complexes, and I'm broke, and I'm getting paid a little bit for each one of these deliveries, but goddamn, it's not a whole lot. I'm broke and I want a better life, so I go in there and I see right by the mailboxes, there's usually a big juicy Amazon package, and guy that got me to eat chocolate pudding. Chocolate pudding, I got to do a workout before that, but I go in to the apartment complex. There's mailboxes right there. There's a big Amazon package that nobody's picked up yet. Now, normally I like to consider myself a civilized human being, and I wouldn't even think about, hiding my face and taking it. But, anything goes, right? When you're broke and you want a better life. So I figured I might as well take the opportunity, start swipe it and start selling it out here on Hollywood Boulevard. I have my own little shop, man, and stuff I'll swipe from the goddamn mailboxes in the apartment complex. That's if anything goes, if you could just hop across the border because you're broke and want a better life, baby, let's do it. Let's get this opportunity, all right? So I'm gonna start swiping these packages, right? I'm gonna start swiping them and street hustling, all right? Street hustling. Jay-Z did it with crack cocaine. He celebrated for it. That destroyed families. I'm just trying to give you a toaster, that Cindy on 3rd Street didn't even care enough to come down the stairs and pick up. All right. I'm helping the community and I'm getting ahead because I'm broke and I want a better life. Now, the trouble is, like, that is true. There's some argument, an argument of like, well, you could have been born down there, and who knows what you would have done to try to get to America, and that's true. But there is a reality that the people who grew up in these third world countries don't understand the principles of freedom that go into this country. They're not reading Murray Rothbard. They're not, reading John Locke. They're not waxing poetic about the Bill of Rights and separation of church and state and Thomas Jefferson. It's just not the reality. They're going to come in here. The welfare system is a huge attractant for the migrants. It's a huge benefit that they can immediately come in and get. And to pretend like that's not an incentive to come into the country and get all this free welfare is absurd. And then to think that they're not going to turn around and vote for the party that's giving them this free stuff is also absurd. And also they come from big government countries, so they're generally going to vote for, you guessed it, bigger government and basically forced redistribution of wealth from the host population or from the majority population of the country. And so it's a huge drain on the economy. But people overlook all the economics of it and all the political reality of it and just say, oh, you don't feel bad for these poor migrants. They're just seeking asylum. And it's like, you don't know that. You don't know that. The only thing we know is there's a big welfare state that's like laying out on America's lawn, just offered up to anybody who can manage to get in. What's up, Adam? Adam Yus. We're talking about diversity and multiculturalism and all the beautiful ideas they're perpetuating out here in Hollywood. It's all lovely. When I first moved here, I was looking for an apartment with my buddy from Oklahoma, and we're looking in Culver City, and there was this black lady showing us around the apartments, right? And she made a point before she started showing us around that before I start showing you around, I just want to make sure that you'd be comfortable living in an area with lots of diversity. And it was just confusing because, like, here's your first clue that wouldn't be a problem. We moved to Los Angeles. voluntarily, you know? Nobody held a gun to our head and was like, yeah, you're going to live in Culver City too. There's going to be lots of diversity. You're going to be uncomfortable as a motherfucker. Like, that's not what it was. We knew, you know, diversity in LA was not exactly going to catch us by surprise. Like, what? You mean there are real life black people living here? Oh, whoa. Really? Are they friendly? Dude, we forgot to put we were Nazis on the application. Oh man, we should have made it way more clear that we wanted to live in one of these tiki torch areas of LA, you know? And that was one of the things that the dude on Facebook was saying, that I listed 3 things because he was saying Trump was so universally terrible and like historically awful and like the worst thing ever. And so I listed 3 things. I listed 1 million dead Iraqis under Bush, the banking takeover under Obama when he bailed out the same banks who financed his campaign when they failed. Essentially a banking takeover, because they're doing the same things they were doing before the financial crisis in 2008. That they're doing the same things now. They haven't stopped. And so they're just building a bigger bubble because Obama let them off the hook on the taxpayer dime for trillions of dollars. So that banker takeover, and then the collapse of the Middle East under Obama and Hillary, Syria going to shit, financing the rebels there, and financing the rebels to take over and knock Gaddafi off in Libya, and opening up a power vacuum, which led to the rise of ISIS, and now we have goddamn open slave trade in Libya. People are still sore about the goddamn Atlantic slave trade hundreds of years ago, and like, oh, white people are evil. Don't think about the fact that Western white Europeans ended slavery worldwide. Don't think about that. It's just white people's fault. They basically invented it. Don't think about the Arab slave trade in, you know, the 1400s. We're not going to go back that far in the history book. We want our cultural Marxist narrative that white people invented slavery and they want to do it. They want to keep doing it. But those noble Democrats, they weren't the ones that were fighting, the Southern Democrats fighting in the Civil War to keep slavery. No. The noble Democrats saved the black people from the evil Republicans. It's like such an ass-backward version of history. But I was saying those 3 things, the million dead Iraqis under Bush, banking takeover, and Middle East collapse under Obama. I was like, name one thing that Trump has done that's worse. Oh yeah, there was tons of slavery going on in Africa, and many of the black people in Africa facilitated the slave trade and worked with these evil fuck white people who came over and took the slaves back to America. But I was like, name one thing that's happened in the Trump administration that's worse than any of those 3 things. If he's so unparalleled of an evil ruler, or like, if he's so like historically awful, name one thing that's worse. He said the separation of families at the border, which has been going on since the inception of the country on Ellis Island, and most of the pictures of these sad little kids being separated are pictures that were taken during the Obama administration. Trump was the first one to enforce it. Nah, that's wrong. That's wrong. Oh, there was tons more of deportations under Obama than Trump even. And what else did he say? He said sexual assaults. As if like Trump has been proven guilty of sexual assault, has he? My favorite thing was the whole grab him by the pussy thing, like as if that was somehow proof that he was a sexual predator. He said, they let you do it. They let you grab him by the pussy, you know, and grab him by the pussy. They let you do it. When they let you do it, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. When they let you do it, that's called a groupie. She saw that fucking private jet with his name on the side of it, you know. When you got that, you kind of have to grab pussy to keep it from hitting you in the face because it's flying at you at 100 miles an hour. You know, it's a troubling situation when you got pussy flying at you that fast. You got to protect yourself a little bit. You got to grab the pussy, move it out of the way. If we're gonna like start saying banging, money grubbing hoes, yeah. If you're gonna start demonizing groupie pussy, we got to go after Mick Jagger too, because that dude has been a serial sexual assaulter. Then he's worse than Bill Cosby. If fucking groupies is sexual assault, man, we got to go after Mick Jagger. Who else? Every member of Led Zeppelin, they need to be in Guantanamo Bay, okay? Because voluntarily fucking groupies is literally sexual assault. So he said sexual assault, and then what was the other thing he said? God damn it. I had a fucking point. Oh yeah, Frank Sinatra. Man, is he even alive? I don't know. We got to dig him up and burn him for that groupie pussy he got. What was the other thing he said? What was worse? Anyway, arguing with people on Facebook, man. Arguing with people on Facebook. What did he say was worse? Oh, something about Russia. Something about Russia. Isn't it terrible that we have peace with North Korea and Russia? Isn't it just, isn't it just terrible that we're not at war with Russia, everybody? I mean, we really should have voted Hillary, so we could have had a no-fly zone over Syria and shot down some Russian warplanes, and then she probably would have reinstituted the draft and, rounded up all the straight white males out there and sent them to war with Russia. That's what really should have happened, okay? That's what should have happened. Dude, isn't it terrible we're making peace with Russia? And I love how Trump handled North Korea. Oh yeah, only white country in the world not fallen. Yeah, Russia's not PC. Russia's not PC. And there's some actual masculinity in Russia, and people don't like seeing that. But my favorite thing was how Trump handled North Korea. He sent a tweet that said his nuclear button was bigger than Kim Jong-un's. He threatened nuclear war and made a dick joke in the same tweet. Now that's tremendous, all right? That's going to go down in history books. You realize that? Oh, dude. That's going to go down in history books, man. And then the president turned to Twitter. Making a reference to his genitalia and the leader of North Korea's genitalia and the size comparison therein. And, and he called him Rocket Man, and, that he respects the shit talking. Kim Jong-un had to respect the shit talking game, and they got together and they made it happen. That's Trump's secret weapon, is he doesn't hold back. He always asks for more than what he wants. And what I was talking about earlier, when the media started all of this like divisive shit around Trump was never considered a racist before he ran against the Democrats. Like, then the projection from them started coming. Like, he became a racist when he started talking about immigration and how, we've never actually had a vote on whether or not the population wants all these third world immigrants to come in. It's just kind of the left wants them to come in because they can't really convince normal Americans that they have any argument or have any good ideas for the country. So much easier to convince third world immigrants that are coming in that you're giving welfare to that you're the best one for the job. That's a little easier. And so, uh, you know, he didn't attack Rosie O'Donnell until she attacked him, and then he went hard in the motherfucking paint. So Donald Trump is a counterpuncher, you know? None of this like divisive media stuff and the fake news. The fake news came after WikiLeaks released all of this stuff that, like the CNN giving debate questions to Hillary, her banking speeches, and then like CNN would come on and be like, you know, it's illegal to read the WikiLeaks. You know, it's a federal crime. Let us read the WikiLeaks and we will interpret them for you. Okay? Let us do the work. Don't strain your little brain cells there, plebeian. Okay. We'll do it for you. And we're going to boil it down into nice, digestible talking points. And, oh yeah, Democrats manipulating minorities. That's what they do, man. That's the fundamental projection going on when they call people racist who want to give minorities freedom, because they want to keep them under their control. And that's the removing back from actual slave ownership to like just owning the way your mind works. And you know, it's absurd to me how many people just dump their kids in public school, because it's like you're dumping them into the mind brainwashing centers that are run by the government. People don't understand the fundamental nature of the government is force and control. And so you're just feeding them into this public school system and reducing their ability to think critically because they can't ask any real questions in class, or else the teacher's going to get pissed off, and that's not part of the curriculum. And is it part of the curriculum that my parents are forced to pay for this? It's absurd, dude. That's how you know it's going to be shitty education, when you're forced to pay for it. And then you get done with 12 years of this education, re-education camp, and then you still have no marketability. You still have no job skills. So what the fuck was that for? It's not to educate you. It's to limit the scope of what you think about. Because if you don't question public school, you're not going to question the government in general. But if they taught actual philosophy in the class, they would have to teach you, well, you don't have a choice to pay for taxes or not. And you don't have a choice to pay for my salary or not. And you don't have a choice to not sit in rows and listen to this Common Core curriculum that has nothing to do with your everyday life or any job skills that you could possibly have. You could be using this time to learn a skill or an instrument or be an artist or, learn anything valuable to anybody. But instead, we're going to sit here and teach you about the Native American genocide. And, just how bad white people are in general. And how the government swoops in and always saves us in the crisis. You know, that was what they taught us about the Great Depression, that without FDR's benevolent government programs swooping in and saving the country, they didn't teach you anything about the real story about how the Federal Reserve was instituted 20 years or so before the Great Depression started, and it created the instability in the economy, because when you concentrate power like that, especially in the banking system, you're going to get miscalculations and misappropriations of money. And you pair that with fractional reserve banking, anytime there's a run on the banks is going to be chaos. And that's what happened in 1929 with the stock crash. And the Depression was actually prolonged by the intervention of the government into the system, and all these, programs that were cooked up in the halls of power to help the country. And it's like, you just got to let the free market work. And then they would teach you that Joseph McCarthy was some like paranoid, schizophrenic psycho. It's like, no, there really was a huge communist infiltration into the country and into the government and into the universities. And now you see that there's like a huge percentage of professors that like openly identify as communists, which is insane because communism killed way more people than fascism, but you can't openly identify as a Nazi. You can't be a Nazi professor, but you can be a communist professor. That hammer and sickle there. We just care about people. We like Che Guevara, and he did kill a lot of people, but we don't talk about that. Okay, we talk about how handsome Fidel Castro was. That's what we talk about, and we talk about how beautiful the language of the Communist Manifesto is, and don't look at Karl Marx's actual life or anything he actually did, or no, we don't talk about that. We talk about just how loving communism is, and you need to care for people, care for the working class, and they're being exploited by their bosses. It's just terrible. So the the diversity thing is used as a justification to. It's basically an anti-white narrative cloaked as diversity. That's all diversity means, is less white people. We just want to make sure you're comfortable living in an area with lots of diversity. What does that mean? Lots of people that aren't like you. So get comfortable. We're not like you. We don't necessarily even like you. And they hate Russia and run around with... I don't know how to keep these chats up. I guess if you do a super chat, maybe. That was a hefty paragraph there. But yeah, the diversity narrative. That's the thing, is like they complain about institutional racism, but the only actual laws on the books that have anything to do with race are in favor of minorities. You have affirmative action, you have diversity quotas now. Like, there's no diversity quota that says you have to have a certain number of white people. It's all about, assuming that that minorities can't do it on their own, can't do it on their own. We gotta help them out with this government legislation. And that's the bigotry of low expectations, ladies and gentlemen. That naked and brazen in front of your face. But yeah, the multiculturalism is a little more complicated, I think, because I think it's good if you're going to have a cohesive country with people living together and not an ethno-state. I think there's nothing generally wrong with multiculturalism, taking bits from other people's culture and combining them and, working together to build shit and getting along. Nothing wrong with that. But then they also do this thing where they have multiculturalism is good, right? Multiculturalism is good. It's always good. But cultural appropriation is bad, okay? You can't do your braids like that. That's our shit. Just chastising white people. And the thing that white people do is they were like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I didn't mean to. Somebody's trying to call me, and I put the do not disturb on there, and it's not working. Okay, so multiculturalism and cultural appropriation cannot coexist. So the chastising people for that, you can't do your braids like that. That's our shit. This is the thing that white people never do, which is funny. Just anytime you get accused of cultural appropriation, just look back and be like, oh, wait, excuse me, did you Did you just say that in the English language there? Because that's our shit. You know? That's. I think you need my permission. You know, if you're going to start chastising me about cultural appropriation, you're appropriating my culture right now. We're arguing on the internet. You're appropriating, you know, the invention of smartphones and the internet and electricity. uh, so, guys, can I'm gonna come right back because I think somebody is here to I think somebody's here to put in their application for an apartment. So I'm gonna run downstairs real quick. I'll be right back. Mwah. I gotta go collect these applications, baby. Right back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. All right, we got some beautiful people here from the Ukraine applying for an apartment. So so yeah, I was talking about multiculturalism and cultural appropriation can't coexist. It's just another way to browbeat white people and get them to do what you say. You know, shut up and do what I say. Stop being racist. Stop being sexist. Do what I say. And that's what the media tries to do to Trump. And Trump counterpunches, and that's viewed as aggression. When you stand up for yourself and you don't take bullshit, that's what's viewed as like tyrannical. When you don't just like cower down and be like, I guess I am racist, and I really do need to listen when minorities talk, and like that is condescending to minorities too. When minorities talk, white people need to shut up and listen. Like as if you know, we weren't, like they didn't have any good ideas worth listening to, you know, to begin with. The comedy sketches, yeah, man, we love doing them. We love doing them. But you know, it's just hard to get everybody together and get it all coordinated, and you know, it's get it edited and everything. I like doing these live streams, and I don't know if you're in LA, man, but I do stand up every night at this place called the Fourth Wall in North Hollywood, and they got some fun shows up there, dude. They got some fun shows. Oh yeah, the PC Police, baby. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So yeah, diversity and multiculturalism, and man, and it's just funny, like the leftist perception of the world. That like, I tell people I'm from Oklahoma, and you know, it's viewed as like America's like breadbasket of racism. You know, it's just brewing over in the middle of the country. And, you know, I only knew one actual racist person growing up, and he happened to be my grandpa, my hillbilly grandpa from West Virginia. Called himself Sooner Jim. And, dude, he would say crazy racist shit all the time. Now, here's the thing. He wasn't doing anything racist. He wasn't like not hiring people because of what color they were, or like he was a contractor for carpentry, whatever. And he would just throw the N word around, but he wasn't like organizing Klan rallies, you know. And I think people are so sensitive; they're getting that confused of like doing racist things, like hate crimes, or you know, like actually discriminating, like in a job place or something like that, versus like making a racist joke or saying the N word, like something like that. There's a difference in rhetoric and action, but everything is kind of like lumped together, where if you even say something like Roseanne that seems like it might be racist, it's immediately branded as racist, what you said, and then you as a person are immediately branded as a racist, which makes you like evil, which is like the kiss of death. So anything you say that can possibly be misconstrued as racist, which is basically anything a white person says, can somehow be tied back to some ethereal racism. So that's a power move that they do to brand you, and like the Nazis branded the Jews, and put that hex on you to get you to question yourself and to silence yourself and censor yourself. So I think we got to push back on that idea that if you make like a racist joke, or you say the word nigger, or if then you're automatically this evil person. And it's just not true. You can say racially insensitive things, and it doesn't make you a horrible person. Like my grandpa would say crazy racist shit about black people all the time. But, he can also smoke one hell of a brisket. Okay? So we would find ourselves over at Pop's house all the time eating goddamn barbecue and watching football. And, it was uncomfortable as hell being around him when he would throw that language around, dude. And like one of the teams would have a black quarterback. And, you just be waiting for it. You just be waiting for it, dude, eating that barbecue. And he'd be like, looking at the black quarterback like, man, that ain't gonna work. He don't know how to run the system. And I'm like, Pop, he might know how to run it. God damn, these ribs are delicious. It's just, falling off the bone. It's, fuck, man. See the backup white quarterback on the, oh yeah, and there's a lot of humor that's being missed when you can't be racist as a satire. That's one of the things I've struggled with on stage is like, I'm so not racist that like, I want to play that satire up of what people think of like critical thinking white people. It's just like, that's the biggest, people are labeled racist in society now is critically thinking white people. You're thinking for yourself? Racist. But yeah, and my grandpa would see the backup white quarterback on the sideline and be like, put him in. He knows how to read a defense. And I'm like, Pop, that's... oh, if this brisket wasn't so goddamn tender and delicious, I mean, we might have an argument. This is just tremendous fucking barbecue, dude. Amazing. But like, he would say that shit that would make you uncomfortable. But, he wasn't actively doing anything racist. Like, and you can't organize a Klan rally and have a barbecue at the Klan rally. Because then, You're gonna get the barbecue sauce all over your costume, man. You fuck your outfit up, fuck the whole party up, dude. Um, so, but I had this rebellion like after I experienced being around my grandpa. I had this rebound. So like now, like I'm I I'm only attracted pretty much to black women with big beautiful asses. That's one of the things that came out of that rebound against racism. Like I'm like, damn. I was 18 and I was like, I guess I'm voting for Obama and I'm hitting that big black ass. That was my response. And I did regret voting for Obama because, of course, he's a communist who sold the country out to the big banks, you know. But I've never regretted the black women thing because those are just some of the best experiences of my life, dude. I go through some horrible shit to get to a beautiful ass, you know. I've shown up on Crenshaw Boulevard with a bottle of wine that big, you know, and you know. You do the damn thing, but then you go through some horrible shit sometimes. Some of these chicks are crazy. You know, I showed up at this one chick's house on Crenshaw Boulevard out here in L.A., man. That ass was looking perfect, just like it did on the goddamn dating app. And, you know, get in the front room, and there are all three of her kids. Watching cartoons, looking at me while we're sipping wine and shit. Like, do you think this is funny? The cartoons? And I'm like, yeah, this is real funny. Me and your mom sitting here thinking about fucking, and you're watching Looney Tunes. I've never had somebody call me a cracker. I just saw that in the chat. Never really happened. Never really happened. I think the main racism against white people is just assuming that we're racist. Or like assuming that basically assuming negative things, or like white privilege, people thinking I'm privileged is probably the biggest. Like, there's no real hateful word that you can really hurt white people's feelings with, but if you call them racist or if you call them privileged, that seems to be their main go-to weapon. And I don't know, the white privilege thing doesn't really affect me because I was born into a trailer home, ladies and gentlemen, in a small town in Oklahoma. So it's gonna be hard to convince me, coming from a blue collar town and upbringing, that I'm somehow privileged, and that I need to check my privilege. Yeah, dude. You've had people call you a cracker? I thought Canada was supposed to be nice, man. Canada's supposed to be the bastion of diversity. But, you know, I felt like that's one of the main reasons that I voted for Obama, was to a kind of rebellion against my racist grandpa. And you know, looking back on it, he told me he was a communist. He was right. I just like got caught up in the racism thing. I was like, he doesn't like Obama because he's black, and you know, that's the funny thing. Like, after Trump's election, the left couldn't admit how bad they lost and how bad they fucked up, so they just chalked it up to, we didn't know the country was this racist. We can't believe it. The country was this racist. And we just had 8 years of a black president. And there wasn't a lot of complaining from white people. You know, the complaining happened on the economic front. It happened on the foreign policy front. But it wasn't like anything racial about it. But America's supposed to be this big racist country. And then the funny thing is, now they like lobby for all of these like immigrants to come into the country. And if America is so racist, why would you want to bring these poor brown people into this racist country? You know, so to be discriminated against by these evil white people. Why wouldn't you want them to stay in their own country and enjoy their different culture? Oh yeah, 2005, the early 2000s, there was nothing, and then Obama brought it back because he was super divisive, man. Super divisive. And then, why did we resurrect an old enemy? Well, it happened because of the cultural Marxist narrative and the anti-white narrative and the rewriting of history about, the Native Americans and the Civil War and what it was all really about. They made this big anti-white narrative, and then Trump came along and was like, no, I think, there's nothing really, in comparison to other cultures, there's nothing wrong with white Western European culture. There's nothing wrong with it. And we've actually done a lot of good things for the world. We've invented a whole lot of useful shit. God bless electricity. Electricity, indoor plumbing, the internet, smartphones. You're welcome. All right. Brought to you by white people. The end of slavery for the civilized world. Brought to you by white people. The return of slavery. Brought to you by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in Libya. So that's what I think reignited the racial tensions, was the whole cultural Marxist false horseshit narrative that's being purveyed by the left. And now any white person who stands up against it is blamed as being the aggressor. Like, oh, that's what that guy said on Facebook. He said, defending... Oh, yeah, I didn't think about race back then either. I didn't even think about race when I was voting Obama. I was like, oh, it's cool, he's the first black president. But I was like, whatever. But the guy on Facebook was saying that the thing that happened with Trump that was worse was that he defended white supremacy, and he's talking about the Charlottesville thing, which was the stupidest, warped reality version of what happened you could possibly have. Because the thing in Charlottesville, number one, it was called the Unite the Right rally. So it was 90+% regular conservative people, and there was a small subsection of tiki torch retards that showed up. And even though they showed up, they weren't looking for conflict. They were looking to just assemble in public and have a rally. And what brought the violence into that equation was Antifa coming with their batons and their bear mace and their goddamn bike locks. Now, Trump said, I'm sure there are very fine people on both sides. The part I would have issue with there isn't that I think that he was saying that white supremacists are very fine people, which is like the warped idiot leftist narrative. Like, to me, there were fine people on the right side of that with just the normal conservatives that were there. On the left side of it, it was all Antifa, all violent people coming there to shut down the rally. I don't know if there were any very fine people on that side. That's the only part of that I would have issue with. But they warped that whole thing into, oh, he defended white supremacists. Because, yeah, Trump is this big fucking skinhead. Oh, dude. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And it's really dumb how Nazis get aligned with the right wing. The Nazis were not right wing. Okay? They were not right wing. You look at it, they called themselves the National Socialist Party. Okay? National Socialist Party. Hitler was a vegetarian, a failed artist, and involuntarily celibate. He could not get laid. What does that sound like? That sounds like a progressive. Progressive. It's hilarious that like the left calls themselves progressives and most of them just want bigger government. I think the government's a fucked up institution. Bigger government doesn't seem like much progress to me. Like if that's progress, what's the end goal? Totalitarian dictatorship. The ultimate progress. Like, dude. But they have that false political narrative, political spectrum where it's like all the way on the left is communism. All the way on the right is fascism. The truth is somewhere in the middle. No. All the way on the left are big totalitarian governments like communist Russia, like Nazi Germany. They're all on the left side. All the big governments. Mussolini. Call it fascism if you like. It's a big government. So it's on the collectivist side. Then the further you go right, the smaller the government gets, leading to libertarianism in a free society. So all the people that say, oh, they're far right, oh, they're extreme right, it's a total misunderstanding of the political spectrum. It's just totally wrong. If you're calling somebody a Nazi, they're a leftist because they want a big government. They want to be part of the National Socialist Party. But this is the shit you're taught in public school to frame your mind into this little box of acceptable thinking. And then you frame that, and then you get stuck in the middle, like trying not to be too extreme on either side, and then you end up taking no strong stance on anything. You end up like Joe Rogan, sitting asshole first right on the fence of every issue, and you take no stands, and you apologize for your jokes in the middle of your stand-up special. And, you know, I have no respect for people who claim to be in the middle, you know. Because it's like you're just trying to appeal to both sides and not offend anybody. And I don't have any respect for that. I don't have any respect for that because it has nothing to do with what the truth is. Sorry, I gotta get a drink of water here real quick. Yeah, cowardice is right. Cowardice is what it is. You don't want to offend anybody because you don't want to, because your perception of how people are receiving your message is more important than the truth. For me, the truth is the most important thing. So if you're offended, really don't give a fuck. Because that has no value philosophically. That has nothing. That I don't learn anything from that. What up, Dirt? Wait, what up? What up, dope? If you're claiming to be a centrist, you're just a fraud, or you don't understand what you're talking about. Because you either have principles or you don't. Like I have the non-aggression principle, which if you follow the non-aggression principle to its logical end, you end up as a libertarian anarchist with no government because the collecting of taxes is the violation of the non-aggression principle. So let's get some dragon energy in here. Oh shit. Oh shit. He's far right, everybody. Oh my God. He's so far right. The Nazis were not far right, everybody. We got to get people to understand that shit. Because that's the key to understanding the fraud. When they, oh yeah, Joey Coco Diaz, I'm going to do my Coco impression. What's up, cocksucker? How you doing? Tuesday afternoon, cocksucker, wash your pussy. Get in there and wash your balls. Yeah, baby, we're getting it done on a Tuesday, cocksucker. Get out there. Tell somebody to suck your dick. Somebody's gonna lick your balls today, cocksucker. I met Joey Diaz out at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club, the open mic I go to all the time up in North Hollywood. He goes there. And I've had conversations with him and shit. And man, he's a straight up and down dude. He's one of the coolest people you ever meet. Coco. Yeah, man. My set last night was a little meandering because I got bogged down in the details of like carbon concentration in the atmosphere and climate scientists and horseshit state-funded scientists seeking grants and shit. But I did get some laughs talking about Bill Nye and Al Gore and all that horse shit. And yeah, dude, it's that's what you gotta do is concentrate everything down that I talk about into like punchlines, you know, and tighten the shit up. But that's what the open mic is for, getting all your shit tightened up. But yeah, it's fun, man. I love doing it. So yeah, everything the media blames Trump for is really their fault. Like, everything is about, through that cultural Marxist lens. How do you get set up in comedy clubs? You have to have papers. Well, the thing is, you just go to open mics and do it every night and meet people and be cool and be funny. And then you're going to get opportunities. People are going to be like, oh, I'll put you on this show, do this, do that. And then you get invited different places. I made the mistake when I first came out here. I went around. It's valuable experience that I had, but I went around to a lot of the big clubs, and I never really got on the main stage at the Comedy Store because you got to sign up. That's like a lottery to sign up and get on stage at the Comedy Store as an open micer. But I went to the Hollywood Improv, which is like the most leftist club in town. Like, it's super SJW territory. And I got up on stage from their lottery, and I had this joke. It was right before the election, and always getting comments silenced. Well, shit, type it up again. But if you do a super chat, it probably won't silence it. Just saying. But I got up on stage at the Hollywood Improv, this super SJW club, and it was right before the election, and everything was anti-Trump. And I went up there and talked about the grabbing the pussy thing, and how if you know if you got a private jet with your name on the side of it, you gotta grab pussy because it's flying at you 100 miles an hour. Just to keep it from hitting you in the face, you know. And man, you could hear a pin drop in that room, dude. But then I started hearing some laughs from the back of the room because I committed to the shit and like I really went for it. And I got off and I was like, well, they didn't like me, whatever. And I walked straight out of the club, and this dude ran out after me, and he was like, man, that took balls. That was crazy. And I was like, I probably should have been nicer to him, but I was like, I still had my adrenaline up, and I was like, all right, dude. Just walked away because I was like, why weren't you laughing then? If you like the fucking joke, you're too afraid of social disapproval to like approve of what I'm doing on stage. So But I was doing pro-Trump shit on stage at the Hollywood Improv like a week before the election. So, I don't even know if they remember me, but yeah, dude. It's much better to like find a good like low key open mic and just go there every night and sharpen your stuff up and get good, and then wait to get invited to the big clubs. Oh, I'm enjoying hanging out with you people out here. Oh man, on a Tuesday. Um, Let me be right back. I'm gonna do a little bathroom break here. All right. What happened here? Oh, dude, Archer, you're the fucking man, dude. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to yourself. Beautiful. Thank you, man. Out there in Arizona, big pimping. I see you. Yeah, man. I'm not going home for Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have a LA Thanksgiving, I guess. Uh, you know, I don't even know if I'm gonna do a turkey. Um, I'm definitely going home for Christmas, so I'm gonna do a whole week. Not touring yet, doing comedy. Not touring yet. I'm still on the open mic circuit, still building up my material and stuff. Um, yeah, man, it's all about you know getting your face out there and getting it going. LA is one of the hardest places to start in comedy, actually, because like you want to like have some heat behind you generally before you came to LA, but I like jumping right into the fire and getting it going. Um, but it's only been the last couple of years. I've been here for like 5 years. It's only been the last couple of years I've been living in Hollywood and able to like get up on stage every single night and really start building my material and honing it and everything and meeting people and showing my face and so I like the direction it's going. But yeah, I pretty much talked about everything I had on my mind. Niagara Falls. I don't even know where Niagara Falls is. Um, but anything else y'all wanna chat about? Oh yeah, PC Christmas. Yeah, dude. Oh, okay, up there in the six. I see you. I haven't been to Canada. I've never even been outside the U.S. really. Them Raptors, boy, they got Kawhi Leonard. I haven't talked about it on the stream before, but I'm a pretty big sports fan. It's a lot of leftover nerddom from when I used to be totally obsessed with sports, but I've kind of pulled back from it. But now I do the daily fantasy stuff, so I pay attention to the extent that like I can win money. You know, everyone's offended by everything. Oh yeah, I'm lucky. I don't have many leftists in my family. It's pretty much like we got a Trump rally in the household. uh, yeah, my parents are just good, down home, regular ass Oklahoma people, and so they see right through the media bullshit. So it's a good time. Every time I go back there, we talk shit about all the crazies out here in Hollywood, and you know, it's fun, man. So yeah, dude. I'm gonna try to get Kevin Pollard in here. Um, he was the my partner in the SJW X Files, and let's see, what other sketches has he been in? Oh yeah. Oh, that's brutal. Your family's buying into the fake news there. That's that sucks, man. I can't believe that people still take like cable news as anything objective. Like, I mean, I don't know if you ever seen that movie Network, but that detailed the whole kind of change from like objective news reporting, where it's just like reporting the facts, and they're they weren't making advertising money, and it was just like the news, and it was objective. It was objective. But then advertisers came in, and it started being that culture of if it bleeds, it leads on the news. And so they would hype up the most dramatic, extreme shit in order to get more viewership. And then they got more ad revenue for more viewership. And then they were competing in the ratings. And now we have what we have now, where everything is clickbait, everything is hyperbole, everything is spin, and it's all like designed to keep your eyes on the screen to get you to the advertisers for the antidepressant pills they're selling. And it's like racism, sexism, oppression, murder, shootings, and all this crazy shit. And then they cut to the commercial, and it's like, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling sad? Are things moving too fast for you? Does your dick not work anymore? Are you sad? And like they got a pill for everything now. So like the news is basically financed by the pharmaceutical industry, and it's like this weird cycle of like up and down dopamine depression they get people in. And I mean, social media is the same thing. They're just selling ad space on those platforms and everything. But unless you have an objective, like principled way of viewing the world, you're going to get lost in that up and down, not knowing what to think space in your head. But once you realize that they're peddling, you know, offering you over, yes, absolutely, poison the well, then is problem solution. But yeah, unless you realize that everything on the news is hyperbole and they have no incentive to actually report you the objective facts, you can just discount it and watch it for comedy effect or whatever. But people still think that there's something objective about the news. And it's like, I don't know how you break them out of that mindset, because I don't know, it is hard to get objective news. You literally have to go to people who are funded by their own viewers. Like Stefan Molyneux is a good source. He does a Truth About series and covers a lot of current events, and it's very principled and philosophical, and you know, but it's hard to get objective news. You really got to dig around for it. I like Drudge Report. It's a little right leaning, but generally I think it's pretty fair, and doesn't put a lot of spin on stuff. It does have to link to the mainstream organizations. Yeah, it's all driven by money. It's all driven by money. Which I don't think there's anything. is tough because you want. I'm pro capitalism, so if there's a company that's doing the best job of reporting the objective news, I want them to succeed over other companies. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough with objective news because then you're beholden to advertisers. Is the thing. There would have to be. There would have to be a. There would have to be if there was a cable news channel that didn't have commercials and was funded by donations or funded by the watchers and listeners of the program. Well, then it's a little more objective. Then it has a little more direct feedback to what people want. You know. But yeah, it just comes down to you got to do your own research. That's what it is, everybody. Got to do your own research, and you got to understand philosophy is super important. That's why they don't teach it in school. You know it's super important when they don't teach you in public school. You got to understand that the government is a fundamental agency of force, and nothing they tell you is to be taken at face value. And the same with the news because they get subsidies from the government. So anything that's connected to those tentacles of the government is going to be fundamentally corrupted in its incentives. And so Trump is coming in and delegitimizing the political establishment and taking them all to school and talking shit to everybody. And so he's destroying the source of the subsidies and the revenue and the life force of these media companies, and that's why they're constantly attacking him. And fortunately for us, Trump is a bad motherfucker, and he's the best troll of all time, and so he's not affected by the media attacks, and he's actually empowered by it. And he controls the news cycle. And they fall into the same trap every time. He says some shit he knows that they're going to think is controversial, and he gets his message out regardless. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I probably got to wrap up the stream for today. Oh yeah. Public school is definitely, it's brainwashing. You know, it's an indoctrination camp, you know. But it's hard to live meager enough to homeschool your kids, you know. That's what you ultimately have to do if you don't want them to be sucked into that. That's what I ultimately want to do. You're going to find a good stay-at-home mother out there. And, have her teach your kids some good fundamental principles. All right, everybody. Like, share the stream. It's on all the podcast apps if you want to look at it. Look up Outrage Cast on any of the podcast apps. And yeah, I'm posting clips on Instagram. Nick Jordan himself on Instagram. And yeah, so like, share the channel, and subscribe to it, hit the bell so you know when I'm going live. And we got the Bitcoin address down there if you're feeling fruitful in the holiday season. Thanks again to Archer for the inaugural super chat. And yeah, man, get out there and kick some ass on a Tuesday. I gotta go do some Postmates, deliver to some of these rich Beverly Hills motherfuckers out here. And Yeah, dude, I'll be up on stage at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club, and if anybody's out there in LA, come see me. 10 o'clock every night. And yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Get out there and do your fucking thing, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's been fun. I'll see you tomorrow around 1 o'clock, and we'll get it kicked off again. All right, lovely people. We'll see you later.